Good morning and welcome to Member Focus Monday. I'm Christina Schaefer, Director of Social Media for HAR, and we're very excited to be joined by a first-time guest this morning, Socar Chatmon-Thomas. Welcome to the program, Socar.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you are a very familiar face in the real estate world. I'm sure a lot of our members know who you are. Maybe they've taken a class with you before or seen you at a TR convention or something like that
hmm
in the past. And you are a real estate instructor. You teach across the country and locally here for HAR as well. And with that, we thought you were the perfect person to come on and talk about buyer representation. This has been such a hot topic in the different real estate groups, and we see posts all the time on social media. People have a lot of questions about buyer representation in 2024. So we're going to dive into that today with you. But before we do, Socar, for those who don't know who you are just yet, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name is Socar Chatmon-Thomas. I'm a real estate broker and auctioneer and instructor here in the Austin area. I list and sell property in the Austin metro area. I was born and raised in Houston, so H-Town. And I went to Rice University, and I'm happy to be here. I'm an instructor with HAR, and I love it. I love being an instructor. I think HAR was one of the first people to hire me once I became a certified instructor. So I'm forever grateful for that.
Well, absolutely wonderful. And I've had the pleasure of sitting in some of your classes in my time with HAR, and you're just amazing. You're so good at what you do. So we're very
Thank
lucky to
you.
have you. So
Thank you.
let's dive right into it. And this might seem like we're starting on a negative journey here, but I want to talk
Yes.
about common mistakes because I think it's really important for us to highlight mistakes that people are making so people can avoid them, right? So, what are some common mistakes that you are seeing buyers agents are making, and how can they avoid those mistakes?
Okay, so one of the biggest, most dangerous, in my opinion, common mistake is what I call being a Pop Tart agent. Like somebody calls you on the phone and they say, I'm in front of 123 any street. Can you come show me? And you're like, yeah, I'll go. I'll show you. And then, somebody else comes and says, hey, I saw this house and my friend gave me your name. Can you show me this house? And you go, okay. I mean, so you're just popping up
Mm-hmm.
here, there, and everywhere. You don't have a signed buyer's representation agreement. You haven't taken the time to do a buyer consultation, which explains the process and asks them to hire you to represent them. And they just treat us like we are just a commodity. If we don't start acting like professionals, we won't be treated like professionals. And
Mm-hmm.
I always say in my classes that if you have a headache and you call the doctor, they're not going to say, rush into the ER. I'm going to do brain surgery in 30 minutes. That's not what they do. They
Yeah.
don't do that. You have to go to the office, have a consultation so they can figure out what's going on before they schedule brain surgery. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we need to do the same thing. We don't know if we can help every single person that calls us. So stop doing that. That's the biggest one.
Wonderful. We just got a 100% from Tiffany Hill in the comments. With that, you mentioned, and I don't know if this was part of why you said that, but I think there's also the safety concern with being a Pop Tart agent,
Yes.
and our members do have forewarn
Yes.
available to them. So, will you talk to us a little bit about the safety aspect on that?
Yes, absolutely. The safety. You are meeting strangers, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Our job is rated as one of the really, really high as far as danger is concerned. You don't know who these people are. It's you have to get them checked out, and you have to not just meet total strangers at houses. I don't care who referred them. The first time you meet them should be at a Starbucks, at your office, at their office, at a neutral ground, somewhere where you can assess who this person is and whether or not you want to work with them. Because they might not have like a criminal background, but they might just be a knucklehead, and they're wanting you to pop up and go show them a house every 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
every time they see something on the internet. So your life and is not worth a commission. So do not meet people at a house.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't do it. I don't care who they are. I don't care who referred them. Do not do it.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you. And as I mentioned, our members do have Forewarn available to them. We can put a link to more information about that in the comments, and we encourage our members to utilize that feature as often as possible. So thank you for that, Socar. So let's talk about new agents for a second. What advice would you give to a new agent? They're kind of trying to build their specialty, and maybe they're saying, "I like the buyer rep side." So, what advice would you give to a newer agent that really wants to specialize in buyer representation?
One of the best things that I was ever taught was by my friend Cherry Rufino. She's still in the College Station area. She taught me how to host buyer classes, home buyer
Mm,
classes. That is one of the best ways for you to get people to come out to you, to meet you. You can, now that we have Zoom and every other platform available, you can host one, but I think it's better to meet them face to face at
mhm,
a library or wherever you want to host it. And that way you're prospecting and you're having a whole lot of people at one time. You partner with a lender and an inspector, and then you have your section talking about the home buying process, then you have the lender talk about the qualifying process, and then the inspector talk about the inspecting process. And at the end, you give them the opportunity to meet with you one on one to become your client. And that's when you sign them up on the buyer's representation agreement. And I'm
mhm,
fortunate enough because when I started real estate, I went to HCC. Like I said, I'm from Houston. So I was working as an engineer, and in the evenings, I went to HCC to get my education for real estate. And I was taught about buyer agency at that time. So in my
mhm,
entire real estate career, buyer agency has been what I've known. I've never known it to be working with people who I'm not representing as a
mhm.
buyer. So I've always known that. And I was always taught you get it signed, you have a consultation first, and then you work with the people after they sign it. And I started with Coldwell Banker, and my broker, George, said, if they don't sign it, Socar, you don't work with them. And I'm like, okay, that works for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm sure a lot of brokers in our area are giving that same advice to their agents. So, yes, but it's always important to highlight because, like you said, we have those agents that tend to be the Pop Tart agents, as you called them, and it's always a good reminder. Just wanted to highlight a kind of a funny comment here. Deborah Spangler said, "Hi, Socrates." So you're a philosopher on here this morning.
Yes.
Very good. So let's talk about establishing trust a little bit. What advice do you have to really establish trust and build rapport with maybe first time home buyers that might be unfamiliar with the process, or even just anyone? Maybe they've purchased a home before, but it's been years and you don't know them that well. What are some pieces of advice that you could offer there?
Just be genuine when you meet with the person. If you're happy to be there, you have to go in enthusiastic, okay, not spastic but enthusiastic, and being honored to help them find their home. I have a new client that I signed up on Saturday. I met them at a Starbucks that's close to where they want to live, and because my office is in downtown, and then I also have one that's in North Austin, and they wanted to go even further northwest. And so I said, do you know the Starbucks that's over off 431? And they were like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So we met there, and I'm excited because they are the age of my daughter.
Mm,
And they're, in their 20s, and they want to buy their first home. So you start with genuine happiness and gratitude for being there and being able to help them, and telling them, especially first time home buyers, I am going to walk you through the whole process. I'm going to be here from start to finish. I'm going to be here when you move into the house. I'm going to be your point of contact for the entire time you are owning real estate, whether it's the first time, second time, 10th time. If you have a question, my number has been the same since 1999. Call me. I'm here. or text me.
Mhm.
So you have to start with genuine happiness and gratitude for being chosen to be the one to represent them during this process.
Excellent, excellent advice. We had a question that just came in from Carolyn. She said, "Do you know why some builders do not honor a buyer rep agreement when the agent is not present at the builder?"
I think that has a lot to do with the fact that their attorneys have said that we have to be there firsthand. What I
Mm-hmm.
do is I teach my buyer clients, and I will share this with you when I have the ABR class, and even when I do the GRI classes. I give my buyers a card, one of my business cards, and I have a little stamp on it that says, um, buyer's agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, if you go into a new home builder, the first words out of your mouth are, I am represented by Socar Chatmon-Thomas. Socar is my buyer's agent. I'm not signing anything. My name is Christina, and Socar is my agent. And that's it. Don't give them your email. Don't give them anything. Walk around, take a look. And if you really, really like it, then we'll go back in there together. And I tell them, if you do not, all of the incentives that they've been advertising to the realtors, you aren't qualified for. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to put it in the terms that you will lose if you don't tell them that you're working with me. And it works like a charm. And I tell them it's their get out of jail free card, like in Monopoly. And it's the get out of jail free card. You can use it, feel free to use it. It is their get out of jail free card for open houses and also for builders. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a legal thing with the builders because their attorneys have told them, if they are not represented and don't have a buyer's rep, that they are by default a seller's rep or a sub agent, and it becomes very a liability issue. That's what I think the reason is.
Okay, thank you for that. Some great advice there. Demetria had another question. What is your recommendation? Um, what is your recommended recourse, excuse me, when a buyer rep agent's agreement is breached? What are the steps that the agent should take?
Call your broker,
Mm-hmm.
because your broker is the one that has to decide whether or not they're going to hold that buyer accountable. Most of the time, that the answer is they're probably not. I mean, I've never seen a buyer's agent go after their commission as a result of the buyer's rep agreement. But with the listing agreement, I have several examples of friends here in the Austin area who have upheld their listing agreement.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when they've upheld the listing agreement and the buyer's agent was on the other side. And because the buyer's agent did not have a signed buyer's representation agreement, they could not go to court and fight for their commission. So if you don't have a signed agreement, then you're basically working for free and for whatever scraps are thrown your way. Because without a signed representation agreement, you don't have a legal ground to request payment.
Mm-hmm.
So your broker is the one, Demetria, who will decide whether or not they're going to fight for your commission.
Okay, very good. Just a comment that came in on that. Susanna said, we've had two recently. Our agents won, and the buyer had to pay them commission, so it can be done.
Oh, yes. Awesome. That's good to know. Yes.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
very good.
Yeah, that's good.
So let's go back to some of the questions that I had for you, starting with in a competitive market, how can a buyer's agent really help their clients stand out from other buyers that may be, putting in offers?
Okay, so one of the things that we cannot do, so get it out of your minds, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot do those love letters. Oh, my name is Socar, and and we're Christians like you, and we have 3 kids. Those are 2 violations: familial status and religion. That is why Trek says don't do it. And in Portland, in Oregon, they've outlawed it, so you can't do. Don't do the love letters. You have to make the cleanest offer possible, where if the buyer can afford it, the buyer's paying their own title policy, the buyer's not asking the seller to do anything other than maybe a home warranty. The only thing you can do is present your offer the best possible way without any strings attached, nothing that the seller has to pay for. Luckily, in most of the areas in Texas and around the country, we're starting to see the market become a balanced market. So it's not as hyper crazy as it was, in 2020 and 21,
Mm-hmm.
19, 20, and 21 is becoming a little bit more balanced. And so buyers have time, a couple of days to think about things. There are still pockets in Austin, and I'm sure there are still pockets in the Houston metro area where, like the Heights, where people are still buying houses. And I remember when the Heights was like, what? But now people love the Heights. And so they're buying houses like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you still have your pockets, but right now you're able to ask for a few things.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Another question here that came in from Carolyn. And she mentioned one specific site, but as you know, our members get leads from all different sites,
Everywhere.
HAR, from their brokerage, from third party sites. So when you get any sort of internet lead, do the buyer's agents, or excuse me, the buyers still have to sign an agreement? Was the question here.
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter the lead source. Most of my buyer clients are referred to me. I've been in the business long enough that I have enough people in the world who say, Socar's great, give her a call. I don't care who they came from. I'm still, before I meet with them, before I show them a house, I am going to have a buyer consultation. If they don't want to meet in person, then we do it on Zoom and I
Mm-hmm.
explain the process. And then I give them what I call my home buyer's little black book. And I do all of these things that I do before we look at a house. If they don't want to sign the buyer's rep agreement, then they don't work with me. It's that
Mm-hmm.
simple.
Very good. All right. So you talked about how agents can help their clients stand out. How can agents set themselves apart from other buyers agents in their area?
One of the things you can do is know your inventory, know what you are selling. That is
Yes.
something that my broker, George Ray, I'm so grateful for him that I started that at Coldwell Banker. He was so phenomenal. He was a veteran. My dad was a veteran. And so maybe that's why I still love George, right? But he said, Soccer, you are a salesperson and your product is homes. You need to know the homes. So previewing the properties, and when somebody says we're looking for um a community in this area where we can buy a starter home and then move up later on. And
Mm-hmm.
that was something that was discussed on Saturday when I met with a buyer client, because I know the area and I know the master plan communities in the area. I could say, well, Bryson is a great area. The homes start at like 350 and they go up to 1.5. And then Treviso, I know it sounds really awesome, but their starting price is 800 and it
Mm-hmm.
goes up to 3 million. So maybe we might need to stay either in Crystal Falls or Bryson, knowing what you are selling. You are a real estate salesperson. That's why Trek says sales agent or sales agent or broker. You got to sell something as a buyer's agent. Don't be afraid to know your product. That's the biggest thing. I don't know what that builder, you know the difference between the builders. Come on. You should know. And if you don't know, then you can educate yourself by previewing property every single day.
Okay, very good. A couple of questions and comments that came in that I want to address really quick. Just a comment here from Felita. She said, good advice on making a clean offer. One of my deals was accepted for that reason out of 60 offers in 2022. So
Mm-hmm.
great advice there. On that note, Kathy asked, can you share your buyer's black book?
My home buyer's little black book is super simple. Um, I call it that because it's in a black binder, y'all. It's nothing special. It is in a black 1-inch binder. In there, I have the home buying process outlined. I have a copy of a sample contract. I have the copy of the buyer's representation agreement. I give each client 10 cards, and they all have a buyer's agent on there. It has copies of a home warranty brochures. It has a flyer about get your home inspected. And I have a sample inspection. One of my inspectors here in town has given me just like a sample inspection, and it has his name on it. And so I have a sample inspection, and that is where I give to them and I say to them, this is your home buyer's little black book. This is where everything is going to go throughout the whole process. When the lender gives you information, you're putting it in the little black book. When we go look at houses together, you're going to put flyers or anything in the little black book. At the end, your black book is going to be this thick, but that's going to be where you keep all of your stuff.
Something went wrong.
And that's what happens.
Okay, very good. Question here from Joanne Stevens. How often do clients refuse to sign the buyer rep agreement?
With me, they don't, but with some of my agents, they do. And I think the reason they refuse is because agents are not specific, and agents don't feel comfortable asking. So this is how I explain it. And hey, Joanne, this is how I explain it. When you see a sign, that person represents the seller. And so their job is to get the house at the highest possible price and the best possible terms for the seller.
Mm-hmm.
When you hire me as your buyer's agent, my job is to get you the house at the best possible price and best possible terms for you, the buyer. So my question for you is, do you want me to negotiate for the seller, or do you want me to negotiate for you? Nobody says negotiate for the seller. Everybody says negotiate for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they say I want you to negotiate for me, then I say great. Here's the buyer's agency agreement, the buyer's rep agreement. It says this, that you're hiring me, that we're going to look at houses in the Houston metro area, that these are the things that you agreed to do. These are the things that I agreed to do. And I get paid at closing once we buy a house. If you don't buy a house, I don't get paid. And I'm paid through the transaction by the seller. It is included in the sales price. That's how I get paid. And there is a section here that says if for some reason the seller doesn't pay me, that you would be responsible for my commission.
Mm-hmm.
And I always get the question, have you ever had anybody have to pay you? And my answer is, in over 20 years, only one person, and it wasn't the full commission, it was just a portion of it, because the seller was only offering a portion of the commission. And the buyer said, Socar, you have done such a phenomenal job. Of course, I'm going to pay you the other
Mm-hmm.
part of the commission. And so it was included in the buyer's closing costs.
Okay, very good. Another question here from our viewers. At an open house, should we be passing out the IABS and buyer agreements to talk specific real estate details?
Absolutely, only to talk specifics. One of the exemptions for the IABS and the buyer's rep is holding an open house. When you're holding an open house, the public knows that you are representing the seller for that particular property. But as we know, 90% of the people who come through the open house are not going to buy that open house. So, Carolyn, when you talk specifics about other properties, you do need the IABS and the buyer's rep agreement.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
So, how can agents learn more about buyer representation? Tell us about the classes you
That's a
teach.
great question, Christina. I'm so glad you asked. I teach an accredited buyer's representative course. It's called the ABR. And one of the things that is really good for you guys, I had to pay for mine, you don't. For this year, the National Association of Realtors, through local associations and state associations, is offering the ABR designation for free. $0. So you get 16 hours, like $0.
Mhm.
You get 16 hours of CE credit plus an accredited buyer's representative designation. And you get all of those little things that you can add to your home buyer's little black book, and you get that for free. And it's the HAR is hosting a class on April 1st and 2nd,
Mhm.
and you can go to har.com, or they're going to include the links for the ABR class. And we spend 16 hours talking about the whole home buyer process, from buyer consultation to what do I do if they don't sign? What if, they only want to sign for this one house? That's fine.
Mhm.
They can sign for the one house, and then after that, then you ask them to amend the representation agreement to show that you are now their agent, that they're going to use you on for the whole process. So
Okay. Now, we have a Kariuli. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She's asking, what are the requirements to get the ABR designation? So, in addition to the 16 hours in class, what else is required?
And you have to have the 16 hours, and you have to have represented, I think it's five buyers, where you were the buyer's agent, not where you were on a team and it was your listing, where you were specifically the buyer's agent. And if you have your GRI or something like that, then that helps you with the education portion as well. It works as an elective if you have your RENE, if you have your
Mm,
GRI, if you have your military designation, or a whole lot of other designations, um, are qualified for the elective. And then you send in your information and you have your ABR designation.
very good. Nicole is asking if the class is a Zoom class or if it's in person attendance.
It's Zoom. HAR is only doing a few in person classes this year, but get ready, y'all. Next year, we're back in person.
Yes, there are classes that are being offered in person, but specifically this one, because we know so many members are going to want to take advantage of this class, we can have as many as we want on Zoom, and we can only fit up to 40 or 50 in a classroom. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And so har.com/education, we did post it in the comments where people can go see the information there. A lot of questions and comments rolling in, so let me just double check to make sure we didn't miss anything. Teresa Hill said, take advantage of the free ABR course. Absolutely. Um, in regard to maintaining the designation, do you have to renew every year?
Yes, you do. Every single year, you have to pay. I think it's about $110 every single year to maintain the designation. It's not like your GRI. If you have your GRI and you got it your first 2 years in the business, you have that for forever. Never
Mm-hmm.
have to pay again. But GRI, but ABR, CIPS, CRS, all of those big designations, you have to pay every year.
Okay, very good. Um, sorry, there was another question here.
Hmm.
And Rita also, who is our director of professional development, just made the point that if you can take the ABR designation through
ABR.
NAR. They offer a self-paced course. The biggest difference in taking it through your local association is that you are going to get the CE credit for that as well. Very good.
And you get to interact with other people, because
Mm-hmm.
in my classes, it's not just me talking head. We have conversations with each other, and we do breakout classes where we get to present the buyer's representation agreement, where we get to handle objections for buyers, and it's learning together as a
Mm-hmm.
group. My goal is always for me to learn one thing and for each person in the class to learn at least one thing with our time together. And I owe that to my mom. She was a school teacher for 33 years in HISD, and her goal was for me to learn something new every single day. And she used to ask me, what did you learn today? I'm like, oh, the color red. I don't know, you know. So yeah, it's fun.
Very good. Going back to the acquiring the designation, Almas is saying, can a new agent take the class and get the buyer's requirement later?
Yes, you can. I would definitely suggest that. So you can have the class and then get all of the requirements after. You know, the 5 buyers and then the electives. That it's definitely worth it.
Okay, very good. A few people are saying that the April first class is sold out. I would just keep checking. I know our professional development staff and Rita, who's our director, is watching right now, and I'm sure they'll be increasing the numbers. So just keep taking a look. But we do have another one we're offering in July as well. I'm sure it's not. We're not capping out that one at 20 people. Actually, she just said we'll open up the April class. It should not be showing sold out. We must have hit the over 300 over the weekend. Which is
Oh,
great. Yeah.
wow.
So yes, but she'll be opening it back up. So just keep refreshing. Okay. So just double checking. Okay, and yeah, they're just all talking about the upcoming dates. So there's another one in July and one more in October. And of course, I think there's over a dozen being offered through NAR as well. So
Yes.
that is another option. So in addition to the ABR designation and taking classes similar to that, are there any other resources that you'd recommend for agents and brokers when it comes to buyer representation?
Oh, my one of my favorite is on nar.realtor. You can go to competition.realtor, competition.realtor, and there are two things on there that are my two favorite things that I always include. 179 ways that a realtor earns their commission, and then 105 ways more ways. So the 179 is kind of geared towards the listing agent, and the 105 ways is geared towards the buyer's agent. And it's really good information, and it's the things that we do in a transaction that we never even think about. We don't think about things like opening title, giving our clients a number of referrals for lenders and inspectors and attending inspections and all of the things and negotiating on their behalf. The statistics show that the number one thing that buyers want from us, besides helping them find a house, is to negotiate on their behalf, because they don't know these contracts and they don't know what they're doing. So I would say go to nar.realtor and or competition.realtor. Competition.realtor has those lists that I'm talking about. Your association, the National Association of Realtors, is here for you, and that because NAR doesn't exist without us. And so if we're not in business, why should we have an association? So there's so many resources there. And for the brokers, there's a section called there's a broker engagement section. And so you can go to nar.realtor/brokers and find out all the stuff for brokers as well.
Excellent. Very good. Well, Socar, our members are loving everything you shared today. They're saying you gave great advice. They love it. Great information.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you want to share with our members today?
This is a profession. It's not a hobby. I've been doing it for over 20 years. Treat it like a profession, just like a doctor, lawyer, or a CPA. And when you are professional, then you will be treated like a professional. So we have to up our game and raise the bar and stop acting like Pop-Tart agents.
I love that. I've never heard that phrase before, but it's such
I made it up because yeah, it's like I'm popping here, I'm popping there. Stop being a Pop-Tart agent. No. We've all been Pop Tart agents. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
letting you know. I learned from experience. We've all been Pop Tart agents. You meet somebody at a house, they call you on the up desk when you're a new agent, and you're like, I'm so excited. You go meet them, and they have a buyer's agent who just happens to be out of town over the
Mm.
spring break weekend, and you wasted your time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it.
All
You
right.
have to give it up.
Well, very good. Well, Socar, thank you so much again for your time. Our members are thanking you in the comments. So I really appreciate everything you shared. And I did see that the Zoom class has opened back up. So those that were looking at that April 1st date, go pull it up, har.com/education, get yourself signed up. If those dates don't work for you, we're also offering it in July and October, or you can go directly to NAR's website and sign up for it there. So again, Socar, thank you so much for your time today. We truly appreciate all of your insight. And I'm sure people are going to be looking forward to that course that you're teaching as well.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Before we go, I do
Bye.
want to
Oh,
remind everyone that next Monday at 9 a.m. we will be here again. March is Women's History Month. And in honor of that, actually, she was tuned in this morning. Joanne Stevens, who is a past national chair of WCR, is going to be joining us and talking to us all about WCR, the local chapters, and national initiatives. And we're looking forward to hearing from her as we celebrate Women's History Month. So be sure to tune in next
awesome.
Monday at 9 a.m. Thank you again, Socar, for your time, and thank you to everyone who tuned in. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.